Welcome back to my channel, sports fans. Okay, let's get into this one right here. Well, it's time to pay the piper for Josh Allen. The championship games are upon us. In the same smoke we gave to Lamar Jackson, it will be coming up. So I have my picks in this video, and I want to talk about some other things. The NBA. I had a sub ask me to talk about how far pop culture in music, which to me is the same thing, has fallen off. And I want to talk about Trump. So I don't really have enough time today to make a whole bunch of videos. And so I'm just going to do a remix on this stuff. You guys know I talk about a variety of stuff. And I don't hold back. I tell the truth about it. There's no worrying about, can't say this, can't say that, because you're monetized. We don't have to worry about that. So let me get into this Lakers game last night when they was playing Golden State. And I didn't watch too much of it because, if I'm not mistaken, in the beginning of the game, AD's first shot, Golden State, I don't know who this guy is. I think he's in there for Draymond Green or something like that. Well, Draymond is hurt, but he was defending AD, and he did nothing wrong. AD made his move. Guys just played him straight up, and what happened? They called the foul on the other guy. And I think because when AD went up for the shot, he started screaming like a little woman, because I think, he's an undercover, just zesty, undercover zesty. There's nothing that I can point towards that he likes women. Don't tell me about some friend or some transgender woman that he's with. I'm being serious, guys. There's nothing heterosexual about this guy. So yeah, he screams like a little woman, and I guess that's the call for the superstars to these new fake referees. Let me get that call. So Golden State fans they're pissed. They're screaming all this stuff and getting all mad, and the player was like, I didn't even touch him. So I was shocked they even did a replay, because that's what they do in this era. When they know the refs are wrong against the superstars, they usually won't even replay the whole thing. They did anyways. And it was funny because Doris Burke and I think Mike Green, they didn't even, was like, okay, this is questionable. They didn't even talk about the whole foul call or nothing. While the fans were booing, the players were like, what the hell? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, if it's that big of a frenzy going on, you would think that these people on the play-by-play would actually say something. So the replay popped up on the screen, which I'm saying I was shocked it did. And it clearly showed that the defender did not touch AD. So what happened next? Mike Breen and Doris Burke said nothing about it. All they said was, oh man, yeah, this is what AD does. This is how he gets to the line, and he shoots such and such free throws. But what about he didn't foul Anthony Davis? So you and you see these things all the time. And again, Doris Burke, I mean, bless her heart, but she's just cheap labor for the NBA. Cheap labor. They can't really get no good analysts, no good play-by-play people. I think Mike Breen is probably the last good one they got left. Richard Jefferson is trash. I think Reggie Miller's with TNT, right? But he's trash. Let me see. Clearly, Richard Jefferson is trash. It just sucks, man. They don't have any, Van Gundy, Stan. He'll pop up every once in a while when they got like a whole bunch of games. But he's trash. And why I say these people are trash is because they lie. They have to lie to have a job. And so that didn't last too long. I basically turned it off. What was it, like a minute into the game? I was like, I'm not watching this. Why am I going to watch something? If this is the way they're going to start the game. They already had the advantage. Draymond Green is out. The team is depleted. It has 16 different lineups on Golden State. And why would you do this? So that was going to be the tone set that you basically couldn't even attempt to play defense on Anthony Davis. It doesn't have nothing to do with, you hacking him or you fouling him. The refs are saying off top, don't even attempt to play defense on him. They need this win. You see what happens when you come to my channel? I break this down way different than other people. So it was already written in the script what was going to happen. AD was going to carry LeBron. LeBron was going to get all the credit. As the script is written, Curry, he had a bad game. I don't know. He just, his career is winding down. He's not the old Curry. But this is what you're supposed to do when you get older. You're supposed to, you're not the same. You're not the same, and you need help. That's just how it is. You're going to need help. And I mean, you'll continue to be the best person on the team, but you actually need some help. And it's sad to see Curry go out like this because they keep, giving LeBron James more and more and more and more help. I mean, this is crazy. Because even though Curry beat him 4 times and helped him get this finals MVP, this MVP in the Olympics, they're going to keep trying to fill up LeBron's, what do you want to call it, his resume. So those defeats against Curry won't look like nothing. And Curry winning 2 championships without a super team. So they're going to keep filling that resume up. So I clicked back into it a little bit later just to see what was going on. I think it was tied. And no, I don't think it was tied. I forget what the score was. And here they are talking about LeBron James. At 40 years old, he's going to be the first one to start in the Olympics. And they start showing all these great past players that did all this great stuff. And at the age they did it in different sports. Hockey, soccer, baseball, tennis. It was disgusting, folks. And they were comparing those players doing greatness at later ages to him doing this greatness at his age. And this guy is basically doing nothing great besides sitting around. Another game with no fouls. The biggest dude on the court, no fouls, guys. And never playing no defense. I don't even know if I want to say 3/4. I want to say even more than that. Like 90% of his shots is dunks and layups. What he'll do, he'll get off like some threes and, a little bit of mid-range and, work the box and work the paint, something like that to make it look like, man, I'm not doing dunks and layups. So that's what he'll try to do early on. Get about 3 shots. That was a midi, on the box turnaround. So they'll start slurping this guy for making these shots. They're not consistent shots that he takes. And then he'll get out there and try to shoot threes. But 90% of his shots is barrel into the lane, punching you right in the face with a stiff arm to the head, the head, the forehead, the stomach, the mouth, the crouch, anything you can name, you're going to get it from him. That's going to be 90% of his shots. So if he hits, that midi or that turnaround fadeaway, whatever it is, a couple threes, they're going to be besides themselves and they're going to act like this is what this guy does. This is what he's been doing his entire career. He's unstoppable. One of the greats at shooting the basketball. Inside and out. You can't make this stuff up, folks. They will literally lie to the fan base, to the people that's watching this game, to the young people. They're basically rewriting history. They're trying to tell these fans that are too dumb to go back and look at the videos that this ain't him. That ain't his game. So of course I had to shut that off. I couldn't do it. So I wake up and I'm looking at my feed and Chris Broussard, he gives LeBron James, he cooks him and he gives it to him. He gives him that work. He's wrong for always needing more help. That's what these YouTubers are saying. So you're going to promote a liar, a guy that's been lying about LeBron for, I don't know, since I can remember, about 2009 or something like that? About he's the second greatest player of all time? Wow. So that's what I say. I don't need Chris Broussard. I don't need to promote Charles Barkley or Chris Broussard every time they say the obvious. And it's basically what we've been saying for a long time. So what Chris Broussard is saying, but these YouTube creators and these channels, they know that if they give those guys a little bit of, I don't know what you want to call it, give them a little bit of play on their channel, well, then YouTube will like this, and YouTube and ESPN is in the bed together. So these channels will get some more subs, some more views, and all this stuff. But I just find it funny. I would never promote Chris Broussard as telling any kind of truth? How about me promote Chris Broussard telling the truth that we've been saying for a long time? The same thing with Charles Barkley. He says a lot of stuff that other YouTubers said or been saying for a long time. I mean, you guys can't backpedal out of the stuff you've been saying for a long time. And I'm not trying to say Charles Barkley said that he's got LeBron James as the second greatest player. I'm not trying to say that. But I'm just saying Charles Barkley does say a lot of stuff that YouTubers already said. It's ridiculous. So Chris Broussard has zero credibility. Yeah, I didn't know Carmelo Anthony had a podcast. That's what I'm talking about, folks. These guys just don't have enough money. Or maybe they forget they have money. These guys make $200 million in their career, 300, 100 million, tens of millions, and they're out. They need a job. After they retire, they need a job, folks. They have to go work like you and me, folks. They have to go work. They need a job. I'm not being joking. I'm not joking when I say this. I'm being serious. They need a job. It's right on cue when they retire. They have to go work. They can't take their tens of millions and hundreds of millions and just go start a business and go chill on the beach somewhere and enjoy the rest of their lives. They need a job, folks. They need to go coach somewhere. They need to go put on makeup and read from a script and be an analyst or be a play-by-play guy. Like I said, or be assistant coach. They just, I don't know, folks. And now the new thing is podcasting. They get into this podcast thing and they just come in here and they take all the money from the YouTube community. Because first of all, they're going to be in line according to their rank to get all this money and get all the views and get all the subs. So YouTube is always going to hook them up first, right? So the little boys have no chance. So what the little boys do now is they got to promote what they said. What Gilbert said. Gilbert said this. Gilbert said that. This is what these dudes do now. They have to do it to make any money. Because these athletes and stuff like that, they done came into the YouTube community to take all the money. To take all the money. Remember, they're supposed to have tens of millions and hundreds of millions, but they come in here and take all the money from the other YouTube channels. Again, I thought they had money. Why would they come in here and take the money from the other guys? So, and it's easier for them too, in this sense, because I'm not trying to say they don't have any money. That would be stupid. That would be like me saying Anthony Edwards doesn't have great athleticism. That would be dumb to say that, right? But what I'm saying is he don't know how to use his athleticism, right? Because he's always out there shooting threes. So he's not at it like a Michael Jordan or a Kobe Bryant. He ain't using that athleticism all the time, like those guys, like Tracy McGrady or what do you call Carter. The guys in the past, Dominique Wilkins, he's not using his athleticism because he's out there shooting all the threes. So this is why this guy isn't a top 5 player. And he'll never be a top 5 player because he don't have this all-around game. And they can lie to you when you watch his games. Who can stop this guy when he does anything? He shoots a 3 or sometimes shoot a mid-range and, sometimes drive to the basket and it's over-exaggerated. What do you mean who can stop this guy? He shoot like 44% for the year. He hasn't been a top 5 player since he came in the league. What do you mean who can stop this guy? All top 5 players in the league can stop this guy. He's not going to make All-NBA first team again. What do you mean who can stop this guy? He got smoked by international plumbers in the FIBA. Didn't even place in the medal round. Got benched by the all-time turnover king, who can't dribble or shoot, can't give you no paperwork. LeBron James, if you want to be on his new Olympic team, you got to come off the bench, boy. Get the Gatorade ready. So let me get back into what I'm talking about, because you guys know I don't have no respect for this guy. Anthony Edwards. And he keeps proving my case. So for me to say these guys don't have millions, that would be idiotic. So yes, they have millions. There's nothing that the way they move when they retire and now when they're playing doesn't warrant me to believe that they make this kind of money. There's nothing there. There's everything against them making this kind of money. Everything against what we've been told, that they don't make this kind of money. Millions? Yes. But the millions they're talking about, no. So Carmelo Anthony has this podcast, and I'm like, wow, I didn't know that. Maybe I'm just far behind, but it's a common theme with all these guys, because what they found out was that they can just do deep fakes, deep fake AI, and you'll say everybody can do that. Yes, everybody can do this, but the software and the studio and things that they can get, you can't get, folks. They can get Hollywood type of stuff. You can't get that. They can hire good producers to do their thing, to do it. You can't, folks. So what these celebrities and athletes, and what they found out was we can make money without even really working. And, Mind the Game, and all these podcasts, deep fake AI. I'm not hating, you know what I'm saying? Because they got the money. And, I guess there's benefits to be rich and, be part of Hollywood and be part of the entertainment industry and fooling the dummies, right? Because the dummies, what they believe is that people on TV will always be right because they're on TV. They'll believe anything these people say, from political leaders to people in politics to sports stars to Hollywood stars, you name it, musicians. They'll always believe these people because they're on TV, folks. That's the highest of the high. The people on TV to them, right? And as a child, you're into that and you believe in that, and maybe when you become older, you just break the spell. But some adults never break the spell. That's what's so crazy about it. They never break the spell. And what can you say? Like I said, people put their trust in people they don't even know, folks. Because the reality of it is, that's all they got. They've been believing in these people for so long and believing in this lie in life that it will break their heart if they found out these people aren't who they aren't being truthful about what they're saying. That's all they got, folks. That's all they got. They don't really know who they are, where they come from, where they're going, nothing. So their trust is in people that put on an act in entertainment, right? It's like politics. It's entertainment. You can see it's entertainment. Nothing but entertainment. And that's what liars do. They come in your face, they smile, they lie, they do all this stuff, and that's how they make money. They put on an act. So I don't know. I mean, I give them props. I'm not hating, but that's what you guys got to realize. These guys aren't even on those shows. Those are just AI deep fake podcasts, and that's it. They can't steal all the money from the other YouTube channels, and that's it. They don't care about you. These celebrities, these athletes, they only care about money. They don't care about. You should see that with LeBron James. Supposed to have $1 billion and still running the court. Gave his son a contract over another black man that don't have any money. If you look, either this is the most unkind person you ever met, or you really don't have that money. Because if you had $1 billion and you had a kind heart and you was just doing it so you could play with your son, you would take that money out of your pocket and pay your son. Or you would say, my son's playing for free. I got $1 billion. I mean, he pretty much cut another black man out of money to get his son $4 million in that roster spot. I mean, it's ridiculous, folks. I mean, that was crazy. I just can't even believe that. That's what I would do if I had $1 billion. We trying to look out for my own people. And let me move on. Let's move on, folks. So I just tell you, man, these people out here ain't about nothing. Like I said, he don't. I can't believe he has this kind of money, or none of these other NBA players. What they show is it doesn't add up to the way they move. Even during the season, they're podcasting, trying to make money, taking money out of the hands of other guys. And what's even worse is that they get up on these podcasts and they lie, right? To cause trouble, to get things started, to get people to, look at their podcast more. Because, if they lie a lot, everybody's going to gravitate towards their podcast to see what lie they put out. And now you got these guys averaging 100,000 views per video post they put out, like Gilbert Arenas, right? I mean, it's crazy. I told you, nobody wants to believe me. You could keep living in this fake world if you want to, but a lie is beautiful. It feels good. I want some more of it. The truth is ugly. Get it away from me. It don't make me feel good. You know, that lines up with the whole Trump thing, right? You know, this guy, he done told everybody a lot. And this is what I try to tell you. When I was making videos, when the election was full throttle and I was all over Kamala Harris and I was talking ish about Biden, I wasn't saying this stuff as a Republican. I was saying this stuff as a person who is just reporting what's there, what they did. That's it. I never said Trump will make a better president, right? A corporate president. You know, the United States is a corporation, right? A corporate president. Founded in 1871. The Act of 1871. Oh, my fault. 1781. I say, whatever. So, anyways, you can't vote because I'm trying to tell you, you can't vote for these people. You get a popular vote, which is a feel-good vote. The electoral vote and the electoral college goes to who? It goes to the politicians and people you'll never know about. It just don't go to the politicians. So, you know, the citizens never get to elect a president in office. That's in the Constitution. That's in the Constitution after the War of Independence. They wrote this in the Constitution. If you know anything about this country, it was built on corporations, and that's what the colonies were. Every charter that was sent over here was not only by, you know, the king, but other companies paid for it too, right? Even the king had companies and stuff like that. You guys got to remember is when we talk about kings back in the day, they were nothing but a puppet head, just like a president is now, right? That's it. It's just a puppet head for you guys to worship and, you know, and think that one guy is running things. Now, he might be the president of the company, but that doesn't mean he's the owner of the company, right? And when you have a company, you're not going to let your employees vote on who's going to be the president of the company or the manager, whatever you want to call it, right? You're not going to let the employees, the owner is going to put that person in place. That's it, folks. So a king was always put in, he had no damn royal power. They would tell people, they tell these stupid people this stuff like, oh yeah, you know, he's a king because he's related to, you know, Jesus or Joseph or Moses or, you know, these people in the Bible. That's what they would tell them. They had bloodlines to these people in the Bible. And that's what they would tell them in other religions. Yeah, bloodlines to Muhammad and David, you know. It's ridiculous. But the companies and corporations, they ran everything. And they still do. And they fund these guys' campaigns when they run for office. So what did Biden have to do when he got in office? Well, he had to bring in all these illegal immigrants and send them out to these companies and corporations because these companies and corporations pay for him to campaign. Same with Donald Trump. So they pay for his campaign. Let me ask you something. You voted? So did you pay for Donald Trump's campaign? No. Now, they'll ask you to donate. Just a donation. But it's nothing compared to what the companies and corporations pay to fund these guys. You're talking about millions and millions and millions and tens of millions of dollars. So when they get in office, they got to pay these people back in some type of way. So what is Trump going to do? Well, you can see already he's not doing nothing for the people. He's already starting, you know, he's going to do AI for, who was it, Jeff Bezos and whatever the other guy's name is, Elon Musk, and all this crap. It's not helping the people. The inflation's not going down. It's staying the same. He wants to rebuild California, supposedly. Who's going to do the work, folks? Do you think it's going to be American people doing the work? What about rebuilding North Carolina? He talked about that. He went to Carolina. Who's going to do that work? Trying to send these people back home. And they say that we're going to get the criminals out. That's fine. That sounds good. Because you don't want nobody doing no criminal acts. But how is that helping you financially? Because in the end game, when you say criminals, if you came across the border illegally, that's a crime. So we kind of think like, okay, they're acting like this is phase one of getting all these people out here, get all these people out of here that's illegal, and then he's going to phase two, well, illegal and committed crimes, and then he's going to go to phase two and get illegal immigrants out of here. The problem with this guy's bad business decisions, he has laid out no foundation to what what he really wants to do. Everything he wants to do is emotional. Say, for instance, he's not trying to get these, when he say he wants to get these illegal immigrants out of here, is he saying that because he's going to bring back unions? Or what? Where's the unions? Unions to hire Americans? Because remember, back in the day when you got out of school, high school, you could just go to a union and be an apprentice. Right? You could be an apprentice. But that hasn't been for decades now. They cut the unions out so they can bring these guys in for cheap labor from another country. They didn't want to give us cheap labor. They want to give somebody else cheap labor. Because if we work jobs, the company has to pay us insurance, overtime, and what do they call it? Workman's comp. So they're cutting all that out by getting these other people who aren't even legal. The companies, they don't have to pay them workman's comp, insurance, or overtime. So they're cutting these people out, and then they'll say, "Oh, if they don't do it, who's gonna do it?" I'm fine with that. If you think these people got superpowers, go ahead. I don't know where they got superpowers from, because the people who's been here, their foreparents built this country. So I don't know if their grandchildren or their children, their superpowers rubbed off. Because I don't remember none of my foreparents having superpowers. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what they make it sound like. These people from other countries are coming in and they got superpowers, and only they can do these jobs because they got superpowers. So I'm cool with that if you really want me to believe that they got superpowers. But how come you're not paying them? How come you're not paying them overtime? How come you're not paying them insurance? How come you're not paying them workers' comp? So they're not better workers. They're just cheaper workers that's getting paid by the job. So they got to get that job done and get to the next job so they can get paid. And get to the next job so they can get paid. Okay. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is Donald Trump, he has no backup plan or no foundation to really what he's doing or saying. He's just signing executive order. And most of this stuff is going to get shot down by the states because you're trying to tell states what they can really do without them approving it. You got to remember, you got the United States Republic, or every state is a republic. You want a history lesson? I'll give you a history lesson, because the YouTube channels aren't going to tell you. They're too busy telling the script about the NBA. You got to pick one side, good or bad. You can't go outside that. You can't say it's bullshit, right? So how the United States works is you got the United States. The United States is not America, but it is America. It's just not only America. The Americas is from Canada all the way down to the bottom of Brazil, whatever you want to say. The tip of that. What's that called down there? Something El Fuego or something like that? So down there, almost to the South Pole. It's the Caribbean. It's the West Indies. Like I said, it's Mexico, Guatemala, Canada, Jamaica, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. This is the Americas, folks. And the United States doesn't really have America don't have a flag. There's no such thing as an American flag. That's why they say United States of America. So we should know that. That's pretty simple, but some people don't understand that, right? So it's the United States that formed after the War of Independence as republics, in the republic in which we stand, or in which I stand, whatever you want to say. And every state has its own flag, has its own constitution, and about how things are ran in that state. And then you have the United States Corporation, which is a democracy in a company that's owned by the British Crown, because the British never took off. They never gave up after the War of Independence. So that's basically those people, the presidents and vice presidents. And that's their flag. The flag that they wave with the stars and stripes and all this stuff. So what I'm trying to say is, and these people do business with each other, right? The states and the United States Corporation. So Donald Trump or any president can sign any executive order, but it has to be voted on by the states, by the Congress, by the House, by these people. So he can sign anything he wants. But that don't mean it's going to go through. And they can tell you that they done took away all these criminals and immigrants and all these things like that, folks. Let me tell you something. The TV lies. I'm going to be straight up with you. They're not telling the full truth. Some of this stuff is just plagiarized. Some of the numbers are exaggerated. I'm going to just keep it at that. But let's just say he did take back 10 million people. Still a waste of time. There's over 100 million illegal immigrants in this country. He will never have the resources to even take back those 10 million people, even if they're illegal immigrants. So when he tries to do a lot of this stuff and he needs the resources to do a lot of this stuff, and now they're talking about this $500 billion that he's going to spend. Now you're stacking debt on top of debt, right? Because now you're going to pay for that $500 billion that he done took out to use. You remember Biden and them? They just ran up probably the biggest debt in damn world history, not just in United States history, in damn world history. And it doesn't matter what Trump does. All that debt has to get paid back, folks. You'll be lucky if that's a 10-year debt that will get paid back through inflation. So everything's going to keep going up. That Biden did. Now, you would think Donald Trump, he's trying to stop it and try to reverse it and stuff like that. But you still have to pay that money back. That's what the people don't understand. In everything he's done so far, and I'm not trying to say he's been in office for a long time, but he done signed all these executive orders. And I don't see nothing that he done signed or talked about that benefits the people for this inflation or to turn the inflation around. Because you can do that too. You can start turning that inflation around. Everything he said to me only benefits companies and corporations or people who, aren't even legal. When you talk about building and redoing this stuff, who does that? Who does those industries? Like I said, there was nothing about, okay, let's get with these employers. If you hire these people, we're going to shut down your company. That's it. You can't have a license. You ain't heard none of that, folks. Let's get these unions back. You ain't heard nothing about that, because if we're going to get these people out of here who's doing these jobs illegally, we're going to need these unions back. Get America strong again. Get these young people to do these jobs, because that's really supposed to be doing these jobs when they get out of school. It's young people. But they cut the young people out and either told them you got to go to school and go into debt, or here's pop culture. Go be cool. Go smoke weed. Go get drunk. Go hang out. All this hard work ain't for you. So they cut them out. American children coming out of school and brought in these other people for cheap labor. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. The damage is done already. To me, the damage, you can't. The Biden administration made a law for people to come across the border basically untouched and can claim asylum. So he pretty much said, if you feel like your country is a dictatorship, come over to the United States. Pew! Then people was like, for real? But what do you mean come over here? The people over here are struggling to pay their bills, struggling to get a job that pays. What are you talking about? Come over here. If you vote for any of these people, you just voted for either one of them. It don't matter if your candidate didn't win. You voted. You're playing part in the ridiculous stuff. Come on. It's okay to think. But you can't think if you don't know history. They don't hide this history. I can go right to any university law library, the Library of Congress, and pull you up the verbiage, the law, and everything of the United States being a corporation. not a country. Why would you want your country to be a democracy? Anyways, if you thought it was a country, why would you want it to be a democracy? You would want it to be a republic, dummy. You pledge allegiance to the flag in the republic, not in the democracy. United States Corporation trying to bring you that democracy dictatorship. That's it, folks. You forgot you was a man, not a person. So good luck for the people who voted for this train wreck, Donald Trump. Good luck. It's not looking good. There's a lot of emotional stuff. It's just the guy talks too much in the first place. He'll get to his point and then he'll, it's really a lot of times no real good point. But it's just a lot of talking for no reason with this guy. He's not making businessman moves. You saw the guy file for bankruptcy like 5-6 times? You need to get some younger people, which, whatever, it's all fake anyway, so you don't need to get anybody. It's the reason why these people are in office. But, so one of the sellers was talking about pop culture. Well, culture and music has fallen so bad lately. And, they're one and the same. It really just goes back to where the people behind the scenes that were genius, they're no longer there. They're no longer there. A lot of times we think about the people who we see in front, right? The celebrities we see in the front, the sports players we see up front, and we just think that these people are the brilliant minds. The singers, the actors, the sports players, whatever, in pop culture, in sitcoms, movies, we think these guys are the brilliant people. I mean, they're good, but the people behind the scenes are really the genius minds. They make the things go around. The writers, the authors, the producers, the executive producers, you have all these different people behind the scenes, whether it's in movies, music, sitcoms, sports. You don't have those people. Those people are gone, folks. You do not have those same people that were back there in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. And that's when it started to go bad, in the 2010s. I think these people behind the scenes, they left, or the torch didn't get passed on to them, or something happened really bad, because coming into the 2010s, you could see the downfall. It started to plummet pop culture. And it's no coincidence that, it looks like they're trying to replace the people around the world that, have been foundational in those places for a long time. And countries, especially the power countries, have always had a big influx of immigrants. Let's just say if it was a 20% a year, immigrants. First foundational. Well, you can say since the 2020s, the year 2000, it just started going up at a crazy rate. We was like, what? And then since 2010 in 2020, it has been all out, folks. It's almost like, woof, it's almost like 70% now. In Canada, Europe, Australia, the United States, they're trying to wipe the people out, the foundational people. And we can see what also is going on too, that people aren't having children no more. So I don't know if they're trying to, hurry up and get this thing on the table before, things really go bad in the future, because they already see the population count and who's having children and who ain't, and such and such. And we done seen it before, gentrification. They need these people here because people aren't having children like they used to. And they need people to buy these houses, do these jobs, and things like that. Because people are dropping like flies every day. And people ain't having children like they used to. So you got to think, these companies, corporations, they still want to make money. But if they just relied on foundational Americans, they ain't going to make this money, because these people aren't populating like they used to. So I mean, that's just one aspect of it. It, it has something to do with pop culture, and it doesn't. But I'm just saying, it does in the sense that you. That I think I don't know what kind of pop culture they're going to try to come with now, but they basically got rid of American pop culture because it was a trend going on in pop culture from the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s. It was a torch being passed all the way from back then to the next era or to the next decade to the next decade, and it was a torch being passed of greatness to keep the greatness going on. Now you might say, man, I don't like what they was doing in the 40s. That sucked. But we didn't never see, for this era, people, they don't understand this. We don't look at basically what they did in that era. We just knew it was great because the next era was great and the next decade was great. So you cannot not have greatness in this era, but the next era, has greatness in the next era. No, it doesn't work like that, folks. It doesn't work like that. We can see clearly in the 2010s when the greatness didn't evolve or didn't carry on. The greatness of the 2000s, the greatness in the 2010s didn't carry on. We don't know why, but we can see why it hasn't been any greatness in the 2020s because it didn't carry on in the 2010s. So the 2020s had nothing, couldn't take the torch and carry the greatness on. Whether it was in sports, music, sitcoms, movies, fashion, it couldn't carry it on in the 2020s because it wasn't no greatness to carry on. It just stopped, folks. And if you go into the 2030s, there's no greatness to carry on, folks. This is not about, I'm saying, oh man, the 90s, man, they were better than the 60s. No. Because I can go back and look at the 60s and I can question, was it really better? As far as pop culture. And we look at the 2020s, this is at least, I don't know, even when you look at music, right? It's not like, okay, if we go back to the 80s, right? The 80s was so damn diverse and people doing stuff that never had been done before, whether it was in music. Let me say the expression was so deep in the 80s. It was something that had never been expressed like that before. I would say the 2000s was something like the 80s. It wasn't as good, but the expression was really good. The music, the movies, the sitcoms, the sports, except for the NBA was pretty bad. But the expression was pretty good as far as diversity. I think the 90s were great, and they carried on the greatness and everything like that. But the 80s was so damn good. I don't even know how the 90s can compete with that. It was ridiculous. But they didn't lower any standard or nothing like that. But when we look at the expression in the 80s, it's ridiculous. In the pop culture, it kind of gives you chill bumps. But the 2000s, it was real diverse for me too. I was like, wow. Whether it was in music, all kind of different kind of music, rock, country, R&B, hip hop. Music was good. Sitcoms, you had a lot of good reality shows. Football was great in the 2000s. Baseball was okay. They had that little steroid scandal going into there, but they had some good World Series in that era. The fashion was real good. What else? It was good. Spanish people, they finally got their little hip hop reggaeton, and everything was good, man. I'm not gonna break down the names and the bands and everything that was going on, but if you was there in the 2000s, 106 in Park, TRL, all this stuff, it was the expression was off the chain. It was like boom. The 2000s came. You had some people from the 90s coming into the 2000s, but you had a lot of original people that also were in the 2000s that nobody never heard of, right? What we say, comedians were good. Dave Chappelle, Cat Williams, these type of people. It was great. The expression was great. So by the time we got to 210, it was just like head scratching because these people really didn't know where to go in pop culture, right? They didn't know which way to carry it. Now we was kind of scared when we left the 90s because it was like, whoa, what the hell's gonna happen now? Because the 90s were, I would say it's the worst crime rate of all time. It ended with Tupac and Biggie getting shot. But the expression, it was great. Movies, music, sitcoms, fashion, sports, it was great. But we were kind of lost about what was going to happen, because we was always told when we were young that when you get to the 2000s, you're supposed to be flying. You're supposed to have flying cars. You're supposed to be living futuristic, like Demolition Man, Back to the Future, the Jetsons. You're supposed to be entering into that realm. So we were kind of like, what's going to happen? And I remember about 99, I didn't think the music was that good. I really didn't. And maybe it was about 98. I'm talking about overall. I didn't think the music was that good compared to the middle of the 90s or the beginning of the 90s, because you got to remember, when you go into a whole different decade, you're pulling that other decade with you, right? So say like at the end of the 80s, you will start to hear 90s sound. The beginning of the 90s sound, that's what it's going to sound like in the 90s, right? You're going to hear that type of music in the beginning of the 90s, what was at the end of the 80s, right? So in the middle of the 80s, middle of the decade, they had their own sound. At the beginning of the 80s, you still heard the end of 70s sound coming into the 80s, because you always have those people from the end of that era coming into the beginning of the era. Now, you might have some new people coming into that era starting to make their own sound, and they will bring that from the beginning of the 80s or the beginning of that era, the decade, to the middle of that decade. So by the time then, you know what the sound of that decade really was in the middle. And then, boom. Just like at the end of the 2000s, what did we start to hear? Dudes sing rapping and mumbling and doing all this stuff. And I was like, all right, with this? And they start taking the harmony out the music, right? Harmony is what you feel. They took the harmony, the soul. It makes you want to dance. It makes you feel a certain way. And all that stuff. So they start taking that out of the music at the end of the 2000s. You can hear it, and you start hearing these tick, 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 tick. This is what you heard. This was your new music. That's it. In a drum beat, tick, in a drum beat, tick, in a drum beat. This was never black music. Black music was the most harmonized music of all time, and that's why it always stretched around the world. And Spanish music is like that too. It's real harmonized. So when you take the harmony out of the music, every music is harmonized from back in the day, but when you take the harmony out of the music, what do you got now? It's basically dead music. So you take the real voice out and you take the harmony out of the music. What the hell is that, folks? We grew up on deep harmonized music. Don't matter if it was in country, rock, soft rock, R&B, soul, blues, whatever you want to call it. It was always deep harmony in the music. And how you get deep harmony is not just by voice, it's instruments. It's instruments. They don't have it no more, folks. Even when they didn't have real instruments and they started beats, it was instrument beats. It was real harmony. I don't think that the beats were as deep as what real instruments are, but it still was harmony in it. And that's why hip hop became so big. By the time we got to the 1990s, to the middle of it, they start put so much harmony into hip hop music, especially hit music. People just like, they could, R&B got worse. And by the time we got to the 2000s, R&B was there, but it was never like it used to be, because they put all the harmony into they pretty much put R&B sound into hip hop. That's what made it so great, because when hip hop first came out, they were just like, man, this is a gimmick. This ain't gonna last. Even black people didn't really like it. The radio stations didn't like it. They was like, oh no, this is play around music. This is horse music. This ain't real music, right? Because we all remember black music, R&B, soul, R&B, soul, blues, and what's the other one called? I forget the other one. Even religious music, even gospel and stuff like that. So they just thought hip hop was just some buffoonery. They didn't think nothing of it. But the kids liked it because it was, it was expression. But hip hop back then, it did have harmony in it when it first came. But it was just, I don't know, it wasn't a lot of harmony in it. But it had more harmony than now. It ain't even close, because they don't have any harmony in the music. It's like, it's ugly music what they got out there, what they've been having, for the last 2 decades. So I don't know, that you just don't have the people behind the scenes like you used to have. Really, they don't exist, and we don't know why. Maybe this is what they want. The people that's running shit, they want you to be at a low vibration. They want you to be at a low vibration. Yep. Because I don't see how anybody can be at a good vibration with the music we just heard in the 2000s, the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, with this robot music they got now, where people don't even use their own voice, where they took out the harmony, how bad sports is. There's basically no good sitcoms. There is no next great actors like they used to have from the 40s to the 50s. It was always another great actor that replaced another great actor. Same in music. It was always another great sitcom or another great comedian. There's no really good great comedians no more. They're still trying to live off of 2000s comedians. So pop culture is bad because of that. The people behind the scenes, they're not there no more. They're not the same people. We don't even know who these people are really. Because the people behind the scenes before, they was fire. They were great. These people were genius. Because, like I said, we didn't compare other eras like, oh, this was better than that. But we can say that they were always trying to one up the last decade or the last era, whatever you want to call it. Because it's called progress. So of course they want to do that, or you didn't make progress. Because some eras and decades have more to work with. This is evolution. But they were thankful that they got this expression from the past era, or they won't be able to move forward. Thank you, we were great. Thank you, you were great. I grew up on this. Now I'm an adult now. I'm gonna carry on that greatness and make it even better. The next era. Thank you, I grew up on that. I'm gonna carry that and make it even better. That's all there is to it, folks. That's why they try to tell you a fake GOAT debate, right? All you can do is carry on greatness. That's all you can do. And once they couldn't carry on greatness, the LeBron James, what they had to start doing. This era wasn't that good. He didn't play this person. Played against plumbers. Because they couldn't carry on the greatness. LeBron James had an obligation to get the torch passed to him and carry on the greatness. Problem is, he never got the torch passed to him. Because of failures. And I hear people saying this out here now, after I done said this the past damn 10 videos. Don't give me credit. It's okay. That's what these people do. But yeah, he can't get the torch passed to him because he did it wrong, folks. It was actually easy, if you think about it, if he was this superstar that we were told he was. Because the 2000s got weaker as far as the competition. There's no doubt about that. As far as big men dominating and power forwards dominating and stuff like that. Yes, you had a couple coming into the 2000s from the 90s. And they were carrying on that greatness. It don't matter, it wasn't the same guys. Your Kevin Garnett's, your Steve Nash's, Tim Duncan's, Jason Kidd's, and Kobe Bryant's, and they was looking to carry on the greatness. So when LeBron James got to the two teams, he couldn't carry on the greatness. Even if he couldn't win in 2009, 2010, he should have won. That was the beginning of his era, folks. That was the beginning. He had an MVP again, the number one overall seed again in the playoffs. And the Celtics was a number 4 seed. Celtics was nothing even close to what his team did that year. Nothing even close. When you talk about number 2 seed or number 3 seed, a number 4 seed. In fact, that old mighty Boston Celtics team only had the number 1 seed one time, and I think they were together like 6 years, right? In that East. Only had the number 1 seed in the East one damn year. And that's the first year they formed. And that's how old and rugged and ran down these guys were. When they got together, they were like 9, 11, 12 years into their career, folks. You're trying to, not one player on that team was able to get an MVP. Not 2008, not 2009, not 2010. So that's how ungreat that team was. All-time greats, yes. But I'm just talking about neither one of them could even get an MVP. That's crazy. I'm talking about MVP while they were together. If I'm not mistaken, right? Kobe got the MVP in 2008. So, yeah, LeBron James never got the torch passed to him because he did it the wrong way. He built a super team and played with other teams' number one franchise players. So he was just another number one amongst other number ones. He was just another leader amongst other leaders playing together. So they could put him as the face of the team. That's fine. But he's not the leader of the team. He's not. He's just another number one. And to make it even worse, he went and played with them. They didn't come to his home. He went to Dwayne Wade, a champion, finals MVP, and didn't leave his home. Did Wade Kyrie go play with, let's just say, I don't know. They could have went to some other team. And, well, we won't use that example. But let's just say that, did Kyrie leave his home to go play with LeBron James? Nope. LeBron James left again to go play in Kyrie's home. You left your home, bro. It's not your home. And we can really say the same thing about LA. That's not his home. Didn't he win with Kyle Kuzma? That's Kyle Kuzma's home, even though he's not a superstar or a number one franchise player. I don't know who was the franchise player over there when he went over there. Or whoever was in LA already when he won that championship in 2020. Now, I know he arranged the team, but it was players already there and when he won that championship. So he never got the torch passed to him. And what I'm trying to say in this, he's part of this era that we were just talking about. The lowering the bar, the low standards, and why pop culture is bad. He's part of it. He basically destroyed the NBA. Some of these people on music destroyed music. They didn't carry on the greatness. So I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here, but I'm gonna put in my picks. I'm not trying to say I know everything. You know, I don't gamble or nothing like that. But my intuition, and I could be wrong. I'm not trying to say I'm right. All you're doing is taking a pick on a game, and then you can tell the history of it and what happened after the game. But I keep saying this. I got Kansas City blowing out Buffalo, and I'm gonna tell you why in a minute. I got Philly. I don't know how this game is gonna go, but I got Philly losing to Washington. And this is why. To me, the better storyline going into the Super Bowl is not Buffalo and the Eagles. It's not Kansas City and Philly. The better storyline is Jaden Daniels, a rookie. He's a rookie, right? That's what I thought. Correct me if I'm wrong. And Mahomes going for a three-peat. So the GOAT debate can start. And we'll talk about that on the next video if, Kansas City does go to the championship game. That's the better storyline. That's the better story. It's not Philly playing Buffalo again. Or my fault, Philly playing Kansas City again. That's not a good storyline. It's a good storyline in the sense, can they get revenge? Okay, it's okay. But it's bad if they get beat again. I mean, if Hurst doesn't make it, where does that place him? Or if he doesn't win, my fault. If he doesn't win and he goes 0-2 against Mahomes, where does that put him in history, folks? Do you really want to go play Mahomes in the Super Bowl and lose? I don't know if that's good. And for Josh Allen, could you get to the Super Bowl and lose? And it just be another Buffalo Bills story of losing in the Super Bowl? What would be worse? Losing in the championship game or the Super Bowl? It's not good either way. Not because you just lost in the championship game. Those things happen. It's because you keep losing in the championship game against Mahomes. What would be worse than that? Is Buffalo losing in the Super Bowl. And it might not be as bad for Josh Allen because at least he finally got there. I told you guys before, One of these guys got to at least get there, whether it was Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen. If they don't win, I'm okay with that. But you at least got to beat Mahomes and get there. But I'm just saying, overall, for a Buffalo Bill fan, oof, wow. If you lose in the Super Bowl, yeah, I don't know. It can't get no worse than that. So do you even want to go? I'm sure Josh Allen does. He wants that curse to be over. For him. Not for the Bills, because they lose, but him himself. But look, folks, I don't see Mahomes losing this game. The time that the Ravens had, and Lamar was back there, drinking wine, rolled one up, went on a lunch break, took a nap break, and then threw the ball was ridiculous. You think if you give that same time to Mahomes, he's going to be putting up 40 in this game. So the Bills' defensive line better find a way to play like men, because what you displayed last game was ridiculous. I mean, that game should not even got close. It shouldn't even been close if you could have just got to Lamar Jackson. He did and that's what I'm saying. They try to give Lamar Jackson all this credit for making these throws in the second half, doing all this. No, folks, that was his offensive line. I give him credit for making the throws, because you do have to make the throws, but this guy wasn't under any duress like that, except for that one time when he fumbled. He had no reason to fumble that ball. It was just a routine sack. That's it. You're down. Go down. What are you doing? So, and Josh Allen, he didn't play particularly good as far as passing. He didn't play that good. I saw Kansas City. They really haven't been playing full throttle this year, and I think that's why a lot of these games have been close. I don't think they wanted to be hurt. I think they wanted to save energy. They just came off a back-to-back. So they really haven't had to play full throttle all year. These are the games, the championship game and the Super Bowl, where I think Mahomes is going to show you that he's the Michael Jordan of football, or at least of quarterbacks. He's going to show it. Because you can't do nothing with him. You don't sit back there and say he's Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen. We're going to worry about him. What you're saying is that he can make every damn throw, whether it's from the pocket, on the run. And if you cover all his guys and they have nowhere to go, he's going to run. And this guy's going to gas you for 20 yards while it looks like he's running sideways. I mean, you can't do nothing with this guy. You can't do nothing. You better just outscore him. And we sleep on his defense every single year. And Kansas City's defense is good. They're just good. So, I don't know. Mahomes is going to have to be throwing a whole bunch of interceptions, which is unlikely. The Bills are going to have to, Josh Allen, he's going to have to be throwing the ball a lot and making these accurate passes. And I just don't see him running on his team like this. I know the Ravens defense was good. We're talking about a team that's at home and all the marbles are on the table and they're going to the Super Bowl. It's just going to be tough for me, folks, to see this with the offense and the defense of Kansas City clicking. I just don't think they have enough over there at Buffalo. I just don't. Philly, I got to go with Washington. Jaden Daniels controls his ball. He's not turning the ball over. And it is giving you limited time to even have the damn ball because he's always controlling it. So, I got to go with Washington. I mean, I can't really say nothing bad about Philly as a team. And there's nothing really there to say, because, Philly don't do this, they don't do that. I can't really say nothing. I'm just looking at Washington, and they've been playing really good. Philly has, but it's been more Saquon Barkley. Let me tell you something. And this is probably what they're going to do. They're going to say, let's take Saquon Barkley away. And I know it's easier said than done, but I think that's what's going to happen. They're going to say this, and they're going to do it, and they're going to make Hurts beat him. And Hurts was kind of hurt the last game at the end of the game. I don't know if it was at the end of the game. It was during the game. So I think they're going to put that pressure on them to shut down Saquon Barkley. That's all there is to it. So tell me what you think.